Okay, we have our test coming up over equations and inequalities. So I'm going to go through the review questions. The first one says, which graph shows the solution to the following inequality? So before we can find the graph, we need to know what the solution is, which means we need to solve it. So remember that we draw our line down the symbol to separate the two sides. And we're trying to get m by itself. So right now, m is not by itself because it has that -4. We can cancel that out by using a +4 on both sides. And so the -4 and the +4 are going to cancel out. Sorry, I'm trying to get a better picture on my new document camera. Okay. And then that's going to leave just m is less than, and then over here you have different signs. Different signs, we find the difference, which is 2. We have more positives, so that's going to be a +2. So our solution is m is less than 2. Remember that if our sign does not have a line on the bottom, we want an open circle here. So we can get rid of this one and this one because they both have closed circles. That would be for the greater than or equal or less than or equal that have the line on the bottom. Also remember that less than numbers get smaller as they go to the left. Also, the less than symbol is pointing us to the left, so we want to be shading to the left. So this one is the greater than, that would be greater than 2. But D has the correct line because it doesn't include 2. It doesn't say it could be equal to 2. It can only be less than 2. So it's all of those right there. Question number 2 says, is x equals 3 a solution for the equations modeled below? So everywhere where we see an x, we want to make it a 3. So for the first one, that would be 3, 6, 9. And over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 does equal 9, so I would say yes for that one. And then on the bottom one, if this is 3, that would be 3, 4, 5, 6. But over here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 and 5, not the same thing, so that would not be a solution. Question number 3, it says, Marie got a haircut this weekend. After cutting off 3 inches, the length of her hair was 12 inches. Which of the following equations could be used to find x, the original length of her hair? Okay, so x is the original length. That would have been a longer amount. And I can figure out here that if she cut off 3 inches and now it's 12 inches, then that means that it originally had to be 15. Knowing that x equals 15 can help us if we're confused down here. So I don't hear any words that mean multiplication like per or each, anything like that. So I definitely wouldn't want to pick A. And she's not adding length to her hair. Also, remember, we know that x has to be 15. That's the original length of her hair. 15 plus 12, or 15 plus 3 wouldn't give us 12, so that's not going to work. Now we do have 2 that are subtraction. It's cutting off, so that does make me think subtraction. But 12 minus 15 wouldn't be 3. 12 minus 15 would actually be -3. But again, we have the original length of 15. Then she cut off the 3 inches. Now her hair is 12 inches. So that one does work. Number 4 is all about inequality language. So it says a sign outside the movie theater states that you must be a minimum of 18 years of age to see an R-rated movie without an adult present. Write an inequality to represent A, the age you must be to view an R-rated movie without an adult. So remember, on these, we circle the variable, we circle the number, and we underline our inequality language. So right here, it's minimum. So what they mean by a minimum of 18 years is that you have to be 18, like exactly 18, or older than 18. So that would be greater than or equal to. Make sure that you study your page of notes on inequality language, because that is going to be very important. It's either on page 46 or 47, depending on which class you're in. So here we would put A is greater than or equal to 18. Question number 5 says, which value of y makes the inequality true? You could plug all of those in, but honestly, the easiest thing is to solve it. So draw your line down there, and we're trying to get rid of -3. We can do that with +3. Because remember, the -3 and the +3, that's all 0 pairs. That's going to go away, leaving just y. Our symbol stays the same. Over here, we have different signs. Different signs, we find the difference, which is 4, and we have more negatives. So it's going to be y is less than or equal to -4. We don't want to pick A and B. They both have 10. We wouldn't want to add here because they're not the same signs. Now, these both have -4, so you want to be careful. They look very similar, but we don't need to flip our symbol. We want to keep the exact same symbol. So this one has the wrong symbol, and so C would be our answer. Question 6, which answer best represents the equation 60 equals 3x? So we know we want to be looking for something that has multiplication in it, and it's multiplying 3 times something to get 60. But if you remember when we first learned this, I said that even though they're not asking you what x equals, just like the haircutting question, by knowing what x equals, it can really help us. So we would want to divide both sides by 3 because that's going to cancel out that multiplication. And so that leaves just x on the right-hand side. And then 60 divided by 3 would give you 20. So we know that x is 20. That's helpful because everywhere where I see an x, I'm going to put a 20. And if it doesn't make sense, then that can't be my answer. So answer choice A. If Ray had 3 quarters and his mother gave him 20 quarters, he's not going to have 60 quarters, right? We would be adding what he had plus what she gave him. And so that one doesn't work. That's not multiplication. B says he saved 3 quarters one week, 20 quarters the next week. Now he has 60. Again, he wouldn't have 60. He'd have 23, right? This is adding again because he would add the ones that he saved the first week and the ones that he saved the next week. That would give you his total. So that's not it. Ray earns 3 quarters for each of 20 chores. So first thing is I see the word each. Each can mean multiplication. And then it says he earns a total of 60. It did have a total of 60 in there. So if he earns 3 quarters for each of 20 chores, that would mean 20 times the 3 quarters is going to give him 60 quarters. That sounds good, but I want to read D just in case. Ray had 60 quarters. He spends 20 quarters. He now has 3 quarters left. Again, that doesn't work with 20. If he had 60 and he spent 20, he'd have 40 left. And that's because this is a subtraction problem. He's spending it. It's going away. It's not multiplication. So we want to pick C. On number 7, we've got some models here, and we want to solve for x. So first, I want to know what the equation says. So if you've practiced on IXL, you should recognize these. So this one is x plus 5, because there's 5 more next to it, and over there it equals 8. If you know how to solve that, you could do it that way. Or remember we said these are like X's annoying little siblings, and he's like, get out of my room, right? But whatever we do to one side of the equation, we also have to do to the other side. So I'm going to also get rid of 5 over here. So that leaves just X over here, and it leaves 3 positives over here. We can double check that because 3 plus 5 does equal 8. So we know our solution was correct. Now over here we have 2 X's. And be careful because notice that these are negatives. So this is 2x equals -10. Again, you could just solve that right there. Or remember we said that this is like if the parents go out and they leave the 2 twins in charge of all the younger siblings. So they divide and conquer, right? This one takes 5 and this one takes 5. But be careful. Don't put that x equals 5 because these are negatives. So it's x equals -5. And then the last one, Donald cut a board into 2 smaller pieces. The total was 25.75. One of the smaller pieces was 16. This situation is represented by the equation below. Find P. So really, we don't even care about all this up here. They gave us an equation. They want us to find P, which just means we have to solve the equation. So I could get P by itself by subtracting 16. Be careful over here, though, because we've got a decimal point, and when we subtract, you have to line up your decimal points. So you're going to have to make that 16.00. That's going to go away, leaving just P equals. And then now we can do our subtraction. 5 minus 0 is 5. 7 minus 0 is 7. We bring our decimal point straight down. You can't take 6 away from 5, so we're going to have to borrow. 15 minus 6 is 9. And then 1 minus 1 is 0. So the other piece of the board would be 9.75 inches. And you can always double check by adding them together. 16 plus 9.75. Again, making sure that you're lining up your decimal points. And it does give me 25.75. I'm going to show you something wrong for a second. So just make sure you know this is wrong. A lot of times I see people do this. If you put that there, whether you put a decimal or not, you have put it in the tenths and the hundredths place. So you're actually subtracting 0.16 instead of 16 wholes. So do not do that. It has 16 is 16.0 or 16.00. Okay, I hope that helps and that you do great on your exam.